We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
And welcome everybody to another edition here on Unsportsmanlike Conduct here on the Sports Box. Here on this Monday evening, April 12th, I am Paul Macrie alongside Big V, Mike Velardi as always. What's going on this evening, bud?
I just got done my Hall Brawl match with in WrestleMania. WrestleMania was last night.
Yes.
I wanted to beat the shit out of our producer just now, but we're back up.
We're back up. Yeah, we started a little late. Well, we don't have to get in the whole timeline what happened today. You had some family things, obviously, that rightfully so that you had to attend to, and then you got back a little earlier than you thought, and then here we are. We're here. But we're starting like it's the first pitch of the baseball game tonight, like a 7:07 first pitch.
That's right. That's right. Little Toronto Blue Jays usually start at 7:07.
Yeah. Right. So we got our. Let's get our sponsors here and then go through. Obviously, our newest sponsor. Shout out here.
Yeah, you can do it if you want.
Oh, all right. Showcase Sports. They're our newest sponsor. They've been located for probably about 10 years, if not more, right across the street from Wawa on 12th Street. Mm-hmm. But they are moving in the near future to a bigger location where the old Napa was on the White Horse Pike. That I think we discussed, what was that, sometime in May. That looks like that's going to happen. So, check them out. Obviously, a lot of great sports apparel, supporting the local high school teams as well, rec teams, everything you can name from baseball, soccer, football, even some hockey stuff, I would think, maybe.
Yeah, a
lot of stuff. So, so they're our newest sponsor, and hopefully, as we discussed, maybe doing a remote sometime down the line, when things obviously, make sense in that regard. So we got a lot to discuss from over the weekend, what took place. First, let's start with what happened in baseball with the Phillies and Braves, their series part 2, this time in Atlanta over the weekend. And, we're going to discuss a lot about the controversial play of last night that actually favored the Phillies in their win to avoid the sweep of Atlanta. In the top of the 9th inning, Didi Gregorius fly ball to left field. Marcell Ozuna makes the play, throws the ball to home. And, Alec Boehm, he goes in and beats the tag, but for whatever reason, an awkward slide prevents him from actually touching the plate, and he actually goes over. And, yes, as usual, Ryan Havermail with very nice things to say about us, too.
I haven't heard of him in a while. I mean, I like that comment. So, when you know you're ugly, so I'm ugly.
Well, it would be nice to see him on one of these shows once in a while.
Wow.
I think he's gonna make an appearance tomorrow night. Actually,
all right.
Doing a Packers report tomorrow night. But nonetheless, I mean, what's your thoughts on? I mean, we have all this replay and all these. You would think all the angles that would show that Boehm did not touch the plate, yet they felt like they didn't have enough evidence to overturn, or I would imagine.
So I did not see the game live. I was listening to the radio this morning on the way to work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, when I get to work, I'll check it out. And being a baseball coach, that was bad. I mean, we don't have instant replay in high school, but to see that is just like, and they have instant replay. What are they doing? I mean, listen, it went all my team's way. Yes. But think about the impact of people who actually bet the game. Listen.
Yeah. Right.
I'm saying, if you look at a different side of it, listen, he didn't touch the plate at all. It's like giving a guy a touchdown when he didn't really get a touchdown, and it sways lines in games and stuff like that. I'm just giving you a perspective of why a lot of people are probably pissed off about it. Because, listen, it is one game. But if you look into it and take more of a perspective on what it actually can do, I mean, listen, what if it comes down to one game in the NL East?
I know.
Yeah, listen, it would have went to extra or it would have went to the bottom of the ninth or extra innings anyway. Right. But for them to win on that, if the game was 10-4 or something like that, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean they missed the call. There's no question about it. I don't think really you had anybody today that agreed with the call, and in fact, the Phillies broadcast, Scott Fransky said that this is definitely getting overturned. Basically, said it right away. Scott Franzen, the color analyst, basically said the same thing, and they were just as shocked as everybody else. So. You had that perspective as far as the Phillies broadcast perspective on the radio last night. ESPN had the national televised game, so it was obviously neutral to both sides, you would think. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. These two teams have played each other already 6 times, and the Phillies have won 4 out of the first 6. Swept the opening series of the year in Philly. Atlanta did get the first 2 games of this series Friday night, beating them up pretty good, 8-1. Saturday night's game, that was a terrible decision by Alvarado. I don't know what he was thinking, trying to look like he thought he could turn 2, but the runner was coming home anyway, and then he decided to throw home, and it was just a mental lapse on his part, and that cost them Saturday night's game, 5-4. And then last night, back and forth between basically 2 number 4, number 5 starters, Matt Moore and Drew Smyly on the other side. I think the good news for Atlanta is I don't think Drew Smyly is going to be in the rotation much longer. When Mike Soroka is ready to be in the rotation when he's healthy enough within the next month, Smiley's out. Unfortunately, right now we don't know if Matt Moore, who's going to replace him. Right. Because 2 starts into his season, and he has not gotten out of the 4th or 5th inning. So, that's the story really with outside the sweep of the opening series where the starting pitching was tremendous. The starting pitching over the last 6 games has not been good, not going deep. And listen, they've been fortunate enough to win a couple of those games where they grinded out, where their offense performed very well. The Nola game last Wednesday, the offense performed very well and actually, for once, gave him run support, but he couldn't go deep enough the game to get to get a decision. Go figure. So that was his issue on Wednesday. But it's been a little bit of struggle. Wheeler just quite didn't have it on Friday night. And I thought Eflin, after the first inning, pitched pretty well then on Saturday. But goes to show you that the starting rotation, there are going to be issues as far as I think the depth of this rotation. I still think your top 3 is fine. I don't think you can hang with the Matt Moore, Chase Anderson combination as your 4-5 the entire year. There's no way they're going to be able to survive those 2 being your 4th and 5th starters. That's my take on it.
Nah, yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, going to Atlanta, already knowing you had that sweep of them at home, I think it eased them a little bit going in. They got 1 out of 2, right? They won the last game of the series, right?
Right. Yep. Right. And well, their first notable injury of the season now comes with Archie Bradley going on the injured list with an oblique injury. Yeah, it's not an arm, but it's still an oblique. I mean, I'm thinking he's probably going to be out a month. I mean, that's Jojo Romero comes up to be your second lefty, so not awful, but you lose now one of your top 4 relievers. So now, you're going to rely much more on Connor Brogdon, who's been off to a great start, hasn't given up an earned run yet.
I mean, Alvarado, the bullpen is much better right now.
Yeah, it's a difference. And Neris did well in the 9th inning last night, 1, 2, 3, pretty smooth inning for him. But right now, you're going to probably need Romero a little bit more because Coonrad's all right, but he throws hard. But he gave up the home run last night to Freeman, I think.
Yeah.
Freeman or Acuna, one of them.
Acuna hit a home run. I know that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, Acuna was on fire in the series. What was he, 9 for 13 or 10 for 13 or something like that? They did very well in the first series against him where he was like 2 for 11 or 2 for 13. But they did not do a good job against him in this particular series. And listen, I mean, you could tell in the first 6 games against this team, yes, very good to take 4 out of 6 from a team like this, but you could tell how good this team is going to be, Atlanta, if they can stay healthy.
Yeah, obviously.
Top to bottom, their lineup. Even though I think the Phillies lineup is fine too, center field's still a big issue as far as like your 8-hitter right now is basically an automatic out right now between Hazley and Quinn.
So bad.
I mean, right now it pretty much is. And I mean, the Braves, you can't really say there is an automatic out in that lineup. I mean, that's a tremendous lineup. As I said, they're pitching. I mean, when Soroka comes, makes his season debut, that's going to take Smiley out of the rotation, and they're really not going to have any holes in their starting rotation. And their bullpen is very steady. You got a couple real good lefties, and guys in the late innings that have done it. Will Smith, guys like that do. Very, 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 very good bullpen that they have. So, I mean, we'll see. Tonight, Phillies were scheduled to play the Mets. The game got rained out, so they're going to play a doubleheader tomorrow.
Is that what it's scheduled
for? 4:10, and then whatever 30 minutes after that game.
Get him in now when you can.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm surprised a little bit that they're playing that tomorrow, given that they're going to play them a bunch of more times this year.
I guess they figured let's put it in now while we can. Who knows down the road you might get guys out of the lineup or whatever they can.
Yeah,
so
I guess
2 7-inning doubleheader, 2 7-inning games tomorrow night.
Oh, that's right. Is that still the rule? I think it is. Yeah.
It is.
I'm not a fan of it, but
I get it, but
I'm more on the how college is. D1 is like 9-inning game 1 and then 7-inning game 2. I would be fine with that.
Right.
But 2 7-inning games just make it. It's not baseball's not meant to just be 7 innings at this level.
A doubleheader, just 1 16-inning game or something. Just put it all together.
It's
that'd be a long game.
It's like the extra innings. You're starting a runner at second base. I mean, I could see it maybe starting in the 12th inning doing that.
Yeah,
but not right away. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, Chase Anderson now pitches tomorrow, the first game, and then Nola's going to pitch. He was supposed to pitch anyway tomorrow. He'll pitch the second game tomorrow there. So the Phillies first place, obviously very early in the season, 2 games up, and we'll see. They got the 4-game series here against the Mets. So 2 tomorrow, and then Wednesday and Thursday against New York.
I know I'm going to skip gears here, but our very own Brian Teotard has a comment here. He said, based on the report in The Athletic, is Jeffrey Lurie a bottom 5 owner in the NFL?
I love how they have produced all these stories. Basically, how are they getting in deep with this front office and this ownership to this level where they're saying that Lurie's basically in the coaching team meetings on Tuesday, right? Was that like the report today or something like that?
The thing is I know you need like a retired coach or something who has dealt with him. Like if they went to Doug Peterson and said, "Did this really happen?" Do you think Doug's going to go out there and say all this stuff about what happened? He's not. Oh boy! You want to say hi?
He's fired up. His 2-year-old appointment today. He's all fired up now. Happy birthday, Jo! That was yesterday, right? Official birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Get big.
Cool. So like I was saying, Doug Peters is not going to air all the dirty laundry out because he's trying to get another job. You know what I mean? I don't think a team's going to want to hire him if he's giving out dirty laundry about his front office, his owner, and his GM. So, but I want to know, though. People want to know, is he making some of the decisions? Is he in on drafting, like people say that he is? Are these stories accurate? People want to know.
I always think he's had his pulse on what's going on and wants to have a little bit of say.
Of course.
As you would think most owners want to at least be in the room to hear what's going on. Right. It is the team that they are invested in. But I don't. Yeah, I think now this isn't the only story of this offseason. Seems like we've had a handful of these types of stories.
Yeah.
Now you start to get concerned about, is this a owner that is going down the wrong path here of getting too involved, and this ship's going to really sink here over the next couple of years.
That's what it feels like, right?
It's a shame that they could not, after the Super Bowl, they couldn't sustain the success, because now you're at this level here more than 3 years later, where you're wondering when they're even going to get back to being in that level of contending again. I mean, it's one thing, obviously, to win a Super Bowl. It's very hard to win a Super Bowl, but back at least to contending level. When is that going to ever happen?
Here's the problem, I think, with the whole. If you're looking at the whole picture,
yeah.
Let's say they have a crappy year this year. Howie's staying around. I think he's not going to get fired. This is now turned into a rebuild, and he's going to be trying to construct a rebuild. So it's not, you're not going to fire a guy the first year into a rebuild. At least I don't think you would.
No,
the first year into a rebuild.
And when you already got a potential 3 first-round picks next year,
yeah,
I don't see how.
He's only gotten the 2 picks. Yeah. Are you going to fire him then and let somebody else? As much as I want him out of here as well, it's not going to happen. He's Laurie's boy. And listen, and if he is a puppet for Laurie's going to keep him around. The best chance we have is for Roseman to resign, and it's not going to happen.
Well, 17 days before the draft, it's coming quick now. It's almost here. And
who were they taking at number 12? Is that I know? Do they stay at 12? Are they taking? Is Devonta Smith falling to number 12? Do they take a wide receiver in the first round again?
I don't think so.
Do they? If the cornerbacks are all gone, who are they going to take?
I think if you go by some history with this team over the last 4 or 5 years, you're thinking maybe defensive line. Building the team from the line. They're not going to take a linebacker.
I would love an impact linebacker, honestly, but they won't.
They signed Eric Wilson, that linebacker from Minnesota. So I don't know.
He's actually not bad. People say they like him.
Yeah.
For the money.
He had a pretty good year last year. He took over. He took advantage of more playing time because of injuries that Minnesota had in their linebacker core last year. And you sign him and to a 1-year deal. I just feel like it's kind of, what are you doing? Like, you add these guys, like you think you might be filling some holes, thinking that you're only a couple moves away, and then you do some other things where you're definitely rebuilding. The moves are indicating rebuild. So where are you at? Like, they're still not going all in on this rebuild by some of the moves they made this offseason.
Right.
Even adding the safety, this offseason, who's not that bad, who's pretty steady. So I don't know. Common sense tells you, by just looking at the roster right now, they're still not good enough, obviously, by any means. The Cowboys are, probably talent-wise, I think it's right there with Washington, though. I really like Washington and where they're at. Obviously, they're
fantastic. They actually the right way.
Exactly. They're great.
They got a pass on Chase Young. He's not going to be that good. He's good.
Yeah, they built. Their defensive line is tremendous. And even some of their skill position guys are pretty good. McLaurin. They brought in Curtis Samuel, right? I believe as well. Yeah, because that was Ron Rivera had him in Carolina. Right now they're.
I find this interesting too. This whole thing with Sam Darnold going to Carolina. Are they going to ship Bridgewater out? Like, would Washington take a flyer on him or no? Not for the money, but
I think right now Washington is probably content on Fitzpatrick starting, or at least him and
because Bridgewater's not a Rivera guy, right? Rule was there last year.
Yeah. Rivera didn't have him.
I was thinking that, but
I don't know. I mean, some thought maybe Cam Newton at one point, but obviously he went back to New England very quickly, so that obviously took that out of.
Right.
So I don't know what they're going to do, because obviously they're not in a position where they're drafting 20 or something, or 21. I think somewhere around there. I mean, obviously they made the playoffs and lost in a wild card round, so I think they were like in the early 20s.
Right.
But they're not in a position to probably draft one of the top 5 quarterbacks. So, They're going to just play. They're just going to be patient, build the rest of the team, continue to augment, what they have already to this roster. And, when they have the opportunity to get that quarterback, then they'll strike. But I think right now, they kind of showed their hand by, saying, we identified that we're not in a position probably to take one of these top quarterbacks. So, they went out there and got Fitzpatrick. So that seems to be where they are at right now. But I think, obviously with investing in that quarterback in the next couple of years, they're going to set themselves up pretty well, in this, a division that's pretty weak anyway. So.
Nah, I hear you.
We'll see what happens with them.
I'm just trying to wonder what they're talking about. If a quarterback slides past a certain point, do the Eagles try and go back up? And it's just there's so many scenarios, and they have to have a game plan. For them to trade out of that spot to go back to 12 and get that first round pick, I'm assuming they're either going to stay there or they might even back up more. Who knows? And get more picks. They might be saying, screw this year. We'll take who we can at whatever position that we can and just go from there. I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do, honestly. They never cease to amaze you with either the stupidity or the taking the Hurts pick last year, not trading up. They're
going to still make things exciting.
Oh, I'm sure.
With this, yeah. Or compelling, I should say. I don't know if we're going to be excited. But
excited in a bad way.
Right. So, we'll see. I mean, it's coming up 17 days. Thursday, 29th is the first round. And then second, third round, Friday the 30th. And then May 1st, Saturday, May 1st, the rest of the draft. The normal 3 days. And it's in Cleveland. They are going to have it. I guess it's partial virtual. I think some people aren't still feel safe enough to go there. But I think you're going to have at least – part attendance, I think, allowed to attend the draft. So at least you'll have that this year as opposed to the full virtual I had last year.
I see, our buddy Brian Havermill, my God, you two are ugly. I already brought that up. But what did you think about Aaron Rodgers on Jeopardy and him saying he was the host of Jeopardy and him saying that he wanted to be full-time on Jeopardy and play for the Packers? What do you think about that, Paulie?
That's just somebody that's lining up his what he's going to do when he retires. I mean, listen, he's engaged to now a Hollywood actress, right? So I think he's trying to line himself up to be still in the spotlight. He loves Jeopardy. He was always a fan of it. He played as, I guess, whatever their categories was for athletes, I guess, or whatever. He was in it couple years ago, I guess. Yeah. So we'll see. Did you watch? I watched little highlights of what they showed on social media, but I did not actually watch the full show, so I don't know. I think some said he was a little bit nervous, it looked like in the beginning. But then kind of settled in, felt more comfortable and looked like he was a little more natural as the show went on. But I think, what is he hosting the next 2 weeks or something like that?
Is he again?
Yeah, I don't think this was the only show. I thought he was doing a bunch of shows.
He did 1 week already.
And they tape them, so they're not live.
Right.
They're not live. Like they do it. They might do them that day, I guess, or a couple of days before. I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting. And he keeps hinting at, maybe this, maybe he's not going to end his career in Green Bay either. So it's it's one of those things too. I don't know.
I'm sure the Eagles will be calling for him.
Eagles are always interested in everyone.
I know. I know.
How about Julian Edelman? He announced his retirement. So he had a 11-year career, I think, with the Patriots. All with the Patriots.
4 Super Bowls. So 3 or 4 of those Super Bowls he won with Brady.
Won the MVP 2 years ago. He was the MVP of the last Super Bowl that they won in 2018.
He was.
So yeah, that won me a lot of money that year, actually. $1,400 on picking him as the MVP.
Yeah, I remember that. What'd you lay on that?
100 or I think it was 100 to win 13. So it was I think the odds are 14-1.
There's Paulie Scoops. Man, I saw you do the Barbarian the other night. Oh my God, Scoops. he can't hang out with you anymore.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Him and Barberi. He gets the kid fired up. Kids walking in all hours of the night. Unbelievable. That's what Stoops does.
It's good to be young.
Yeah. Not me anymore. Bobby crazy.
Bobby crazy.
That kid didn't even want to wake up for baseball the next morning.
Oh, that's right. He is he a freshman coach?
He's Raph's the JV coach this year. They swapped. Listen, not that we're flying through our show, but what an unbelievable Masters.
Oh yeah.
On the weekend.
Yeah.
And Hideki Matsuyama become the first from Japan, or where's he from? Where's his actual hometown?
Yeah, he grew up in Japan, and he's been living in the Orlando area over the last like 5 or 6 years, I think, or maybe even more.
They showed a picture of him this morning on the internet. He was getting on the plane
in Atlanta, carrying the jacket.
Green jacket rolled over his arm.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Casually.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Little over $2 million purse for Matsuyama. I mean, this has been. I don't think people, the casual golf watchers, maybe never heard of him before, but right. I mean, he's been top. I think he was at one point when things were really going well 3 or 4 years ago. He was like 5th or 6th in the world, so he was up there at one point. But this was his first tournament win. He was like in a similar drought to Spieth.
Yeah,
I think his last tournament win was 2017, so it was a while for him. But yeah, I mean, he hung around, and then that rain delay for an hour, a little over an hour on Saturday, the conditions softened, got more firm, and he went out there and just went pin hunting. And he adapted where some others didn't. People were, I think that some of the guys were shocked that some putts were, the ball wasn't rolling like it was at one point, slowing down, and he was making putts. He was getting his irons were getting within 5 to 10 feet from the hole. I mean, he just was on fire. That's where really he won. He won the tournament on Saturday. That's right, Dave. We're doing teeing off right now.
I like this golf talk. Listen, we're a show that gives the people what they want. We're not just a golf show. We talk baseball, hockey, a little bit of hockey because Paul isn't really cultured too much in hockey. So we're trying to stay away from that. That's what this guy's saying. Look right here.
We're gonna talk. We'll get to it.
He's attacking our show. That's what he's trying to do.
Well, one final thing. I mean, it was.
We're good.
But how about? But I just want to make a point about Sunday. How about Xander? Xander made it interesting. He
16 was bad.
15. What did he eagled 15? I want to say, or he got it with
the ball in the water off the tee, right?
Right, but he got it within 2 and made it a little interesting.
Listen,
and then I don't know, very questionable decision on 16. Maybe play it a little more safer and be on the other side. Like Hideki was on the other side of, even though it wasn't going to roll down that that little hill, it still was.
Yeah, but I think the problem is that
the wind picked up a little bit too. I think though
he thought Matsuyama was pretty much going to birdie par out or whatever the case is, and he had to make a birdie on that hole, so he tried to go for it.
Yeah, it was a very aggressive line, obviously. But yes, there's no question about it. But
listen, as soon as that ball went in the water, Matsuyama said, "Screw it, I'm hitting a shot onto the right side. I don't even care if I bogey this hole." He knew he was in for a double already. That
helped him, his decision on what he was going to do, absolutely, with what Xander did, Schauffele before that, obviously going first with his shot on 16. And then after that was over, he triple bogeyed 16, and you can't triple bogey a par 3. It seemed like Bryson DeChambeau did it all weekend.
Wow.
I mean, if it's not an eagle, it's a double bogey with him. He just can't handle the Masters. The Masters has humbled him. Yeah, I'm not destroying it because he is a major champion. He won the U.S. Open last year, but he can't overpower every golf course. It's just not going to happen. So
he tries to, and he's been doing okay with it.
But the Masters, he hasn't been able to do it. So
listen, you can say that for DJ too. DJ just in November shot 20 under, and the winner this time was 10 under.
Yeah, well, we talked about it before last week. The conditions were going to be different. Obviously, in the spring, it's different than in the fall. Obviously, that proved it.
Yeah.
This is your normal score for the Masters. Is like 10, 11, 12 under is your winner.
And normally, you know, when it all comes down to it, Will Zalatoris,
who played very well for his first time.
Second place, one shot back. He wins $1 million. He wins $1 million all by himself. Yeah. But if Xander doesn't triple bogey that hole, I think Xander wins. I really do. He's right there. It either goes to a playoff or whatever at that point.
Yeah,
that would have been. It would have been a weird ending after you were up 6 shots going on 11, or number 11, I think he was.
He had a good week, very steady week for him. You know, he made a couple of mistakes, if I remember, like on the front nine yesterday, that kind of did him in, was Zalatoris. But also don't forget, you know, Jordan Spieth had a nice week too, another steady top 5 for him. You know, in a major at the Masters.
He's getting the game back.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing as good as anybody right now. Very steady. Rahm had a really big time 66. Was inches from a 65, just missed the putt on 18 yesterday. Good for him. You know, had the child just the Saturday before the Masters, comes late, and you know, all things considered, had a nice week. He's going to break through at some point, Rahm, and win a major. It's a matter of time, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens this year. You know, I think he could win like a U.S. Open too, or he's top 5 in the world for a reason as well. So.
Question coming in from Mike Galetta. Where did Tiger finish? No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that.
Mike was one of the few that actually enjoyed this week.
Yeah. He didn't have to hear about Tiger and where he's at and follow him around.
Some other faces, you know. Hey, and now it's up to the PGA to market some of these guys. You know, are they going to market, Zalatoris or Matsuyama? As I said, this guy didn't come out completely nowhere. He's 25th in the world. Yeah, I know his odds coming this week were like 50-1, but
were they 50-1 to start?
Yeah, it was like 50-1, I think, before the week started. So good for him.
Quick story. Dave will like this. You will too, if Dave is still on. So my father-in-law in January goes down to the Borgata, and he goes, I took a bet on the Masters. I was like, do you even know anything about golf? He goes, it was only for $5. He goes, I took Tiger. I'm like, all right. So we started talking about it this week. And long story short, he gets the ticket out. The ticket's for Matsuyama. It's not for Tiger.
No way.
$5 won him $155.
Wow.
He goes, all this time I thought this was for Tiger. He goes, I didn't even remember who I put it in for.
Did he? Because you say it by the number. Did he was it the numbers close together or something between them?
It's not like he wanted to do it for Tiger. He picked Matsuyama, but he thought in his mind, because I think I have Tiger or something. He didn't even look at it. He looked at it yesterday. He goes, holy shit, I got Matsuyama. He goes,
it
was plus 3,000 at the time. At the time he took him. So he won $5, won him like 155.
Yeah, and the odds actually.
That was January though.
Yeah, the odds even got longer for him as the months went on. So,
but I'm like, dude, $5? What made you you couldn't do 20? Like, what are you doing? I said, but it was nice. He got a little sort of win out of it. And for a guy who doesn't watch golf, he was kind of just he was watching the last couple holes, like, come on, like you just get a little excitement when you have someone in the game.
That's good.
Yeah,
I did a couple live. I asked you and Cartwright in a group text on Saturday.
So who did Cartwright tell you?
He told me Finau, and he another top 10 for him in a major, another top 10 period for him, but just he always kind of fades like on a moving day and doesn't do too much. And then when things are a little bit easier, less pressure on Sunday, he does all right. So that's what happened.
Siwoo did nothing. He just kind of sat at +1 the entire 2 rounds.
I think he ended up 2 under though for the tournament, but
I'm just saying. Yeah. I think he was 2. He was like 4 under, I believe.
He was 4 under going into the weekend. Yeah,
and then he just kind of went +1, even, -1, going back and forth. So.
Yep. Well, the next major is coming up in May. So that PGA Championship in it's in South Carolina, right? What's it? Kauai Island.
This week, the RBC Heritage. It's in Hilton Head, I believe.
No, I'm talking about the major.
major?
The PGA's. Yeah, the PGA's in South Carolina too, in that Hilton Head area.
Oh, okay. I didn't see where it's at.
Yep. So that's it for the Masters. We'll get into a little hockey now.
That's fine.
We wanted to talk about. Well, today was the deadline. So a couple notable moves. Flyers ended up actually selling a little bit. They got rid of Michael Raffle, which I'm sure you're pretty happy about. Because you always had comments about Michael Raffle.
8 years too long.
You're like play the kids. I could hear you. You're gonna say play the kids.
Paul, he stinks.
So who's gonna come up in his place now?
They're talking about
is Morgan Frost not? Is he still
hurt? He's hurt.
He's been hurt since the start of the season.
Well, they're talking about Wade Allison. I don't really know because I guess
I don't even know who that is.
He's a defenseman because I guess the trade of Gustafson is going to help bring one. They're talking about it. I don't know if he's coming up or not.
I thought they were talking about
Tarzinski. Tarzinski, I think, is the kid.
Yeah. I know. I think I know. Yeah, I know you're talking about. That would be the one that replaces Raffle.
That's what they're saying. Listen, how do you have a guy who's a fourth-line player be playing first line last year? They don't even know where to put Raffle. It's terrible. He sucks.
Yeah, Capitals made some smaller, nice moves today.
He'll help them.
They
have actual people who can score. That's why.
Right, and they re-signed Wall and they're extending him 5 years, $15 million, which is actually him as a third line center. What they only given him $3 million is the cap hit.
He sucks too. So until they could,
I thought he was having a pretty good year.
Whatever, go look at his stats. He sucks.
He's not that type of goal scorer though. He's not going to average a point. He's not going to average a point a game. I think he's got like 10 goals and 7 assists as your third line center.
Great.
I don't know.
He'll be playing first line tomorrow. Watch. That's it. That's how screwed up they are. They have no idea what's going on. I kind of side with the Tard on a lot of the stuff that he's been saying.
Well, it's hard not to.
Right. But I don't blame the coach as much as he does. He is a problem, but I don't blame him as much as he does right now. I've told you this every week we've been on this goddamn show. They don't have a superstar who can score goals. Go down every other team. They have somebody who you're afraid of. Who in the hell are you afraid of in this lineup? Nobody. Voracek, I'm watching him at the end of the game yesterday. He's going in circles. He's shooting pucks right into people. He sucks. He is. I guess Couturier is really the best player on this team because Van Riemsdyk, you knew that cliff was going to fall.
Right.
He's had 9 in the last 10 games.
Started real hot. Yeah.
Giroux is not. He is no longer in the top 15.
Couturier and Farabee are probably your two best right now, right? Because Hayes is tailed off too.
Dave, that is a problem. Who can they get as a superstar? Nobody. Because they have guys on 7-8 year contracts with they're getting high AAVs, and they can't trade them for anybody.
The issue is you drafted guys that were like Nolan Patrick. You draft him number 2 to be a superstar eventually, and he's not going to be one.
No, they couldn't even trade him today. They didn't want to trade him today.
Yeah, because they weren't going to get anything.
Exactly. They got a 5th round pick for Michael Raffle. While what do you call it yesterday gets a 1st round pick for Nick Foligno, I believe.
Where's he going? Toronto, right?
Yeah.
So he's at Toronto.
It's just but you think that people, I don't know his exact contract situation. I know he's got a no trade clause probably. I'm just saying, a guy like Giroux or a guy like Voracek, people would love to have those guys on their team to make a playoff run. But they have so many years and so much money. Who the hell is going to pay them to go play for their team and take over that contract? Nobody. It's not happening.
Yeah, man. Yesterday pretty much did them in. I mean, they win Saturday, a nice win against Boston, and they come back. They're up 3-2 with 3 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go. 2-0,
3-2, 5-3, 5-3 loss.
They lose 5-3 to Buffalo.
It's amazing. I read something the other day that the Buffalo backup goalies this year are 119 and something against the rest of the league. The one win was against the Flyers. I know what they have. I know Giroux has a no trade clause.
Well, that was a problem.
They're not
right
going
now.
to get rid of these guys. They have to literally suck the next 3 years.
Do they both have 3 years left on their contract? I think Voracek does. I think Giroux might be 2 years.
Van Riemsdyk's going to be worse now. He's got another 4 years, doesn't he?
No.
You sure? I'm looking it up.
They gave him no. Did they give him a 5? Yeah, they gave him a 5-year contract. I feel like he's only got 2 years left. Isn't this his 3rd year back with the Flyers, or is it second?
I'm looking right now. All right, so Giroux has, let me see here, 2021, 22.
2 years remaining.
Giroux's base salary is only $4 million. He's making 5 total. Voracek's making 7.5. Hayes is making 9. Van Riemsdyk's got 7. Let me see when he's there till. He's there till 2022 at least. 2023. Van Riemsdyk is there until 2022, 23.
He's got 2 years left. It's not bad for him.
Dude, he's making $7 million, and he's not worth
that. Well, the cap hits the large.
He's not worth that.
That was one of Hextall's bad signings, probably from a cap hit standpoint. I would think, but I don't know.
Just by going off of this year, what is this? No movement clauses. Giroux and Hayes.
Hayes has a no movement clause too.
No movement clause. Okay. But listen to this. Giroux 7. This is what they're making this year. Let's just go with a cap hit number. Giroux 8.5 almost. Voracek 8.5 almost. Hayes 7. Van Riemsdyk 7. Provorov 6. Konechny 5. Gostisbehere 4.5. Who they put on waivers, and then he comes back and he's your first line freaking defenseman. Doesn't make any sense.
And then he scored a goal this past week.
Yeah. Couturier is making $4.3 million, which is a steal for him. But look, and they got bottom feeders, dude. $830,000. Farabee's making $832,000.
It's his first full year.
What I'm saying is they have guys that are low, but you guys have Justin Braun, $1.8 million. Phil Myers, $1 million. Lindblom, $2 million. They're so high at the top that they can't even put anybody in that's any good with all these other numbers that they have.
Well, I will make one final point on the hockey. The one thing I would agree with Attard, you're probably now going to get Carter Hart because of his value being down at a more.
So you think they should sign him now?
Acceptable contract.
Well, what is it right now? Does it say? I don't see the goalies on here. They have taxi squad guys. These guys can come up. It looks like Wade Allison, Derek Pouliot,
probably because of
Alex Lyon, Torinski, and Nate Prosser are the guys I guess that can move back and forth right now.
Got it.
Whatever. They just get fired up because they're just not good. They're not good.
Season's done anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just now trying to, I guess, see what you have. Is that kid they just signed to entry level deal? Is he coming up?
Cam York. I don't think
the defenseman. I wouldn't do it, but
I don't think they're going to put him in now. Maybe because there's nothing to play.
Because Gustafson got traded. I don't know, but I don't know. See what happens. Also, the NBA things are Sixers, I think, are playing right now as we speak against Dallas.
Sixers are on now.
But they're tied for first with Brooklyn in the East.
Brooklyn lost to the Lakers the other night. Got smoked.
Yeah, they got smoked. And KD and Kyrie.
Kyrie got ejected, didn't he? Was that the same game or not?
I did read that. I didn't watch it, but yeah, third quarter he got ejected.
So it was just Durant, and I guess when you don't have 3 guys who could score 30 points, I guess you're going to lose. You know, you're not that good. So
I'm just still curious to see how this is all going to hold up because they haven't all played together.
Right.
There's at least one's hurt, or Kyrie takes time off when he feels like it, and I'm just trying to figure out whether or not defensively this is all going to translate in the playoffs. Like, you still need to play some defense. Sixers' concern right now is, are they going to be able to score enough in the playoffs? Because right now Ben Simmons is just killing them. offensively, but how many times are we going to go over that he can't shoot? We know he can't. So,
right.
And right now I think they're just trying to, they know they're going to be, first, second, or at worst third if Milwaukee somehow leaps them. Do they care enough to be the number one seed? Some nights you wonder if they do care enough. I think right now they're coming up on a really tough stretch of games. They play Brooklyn on Wednesday at home. Yeah. They play Milwaukee back-to-back in Milwaukee coming up. I don't think it's this week. I think it's the following week. So they got a tough stretch of games coming up here. So, we'll see if they, I would think right now it's going to be Brooklyn 1, Philly 2, and Milwaukee 3. It's probably your top 3 in the East. And then in the West, it's funny because obviously it looks like Utah is going to get the 1 seed. And they got the best home record in the league. Is Phoenix going to hold on to 2? We'll see. But still, the regarded favorites are the Lakers and the Clippers in the West, and they might be 4 and 5.
Right.
And you got the Nuggets in the mix too in that West. So it will be interesting to see whether or not Utah, who are still not going to get any respect going into playoffs, whether or not that home court advantage seems to be working for them because I think they allow the most attendance out of any arena in the NBA right now. I think they are 11,000. I think, which is more than half.
Right.
So I think they allow the most out of any arena. So I think right now that's one of the reasons why they probably have a pretty good home court advantage right now going. And whether or not that matters going into playoffs. Let's say if the Lakers play Utah in round 2 and Utah is going to have the first 2 games home, will that matter or not? We'll see.
Yeah. It should be interesting coming down. We got a lot of stuff coming up sports-wise. We got the NFL draft coming up. We got trade deadline just happened for the NHL today. So sports is back in full force. MLB running strong right now. So
NFL draft coming up later in a month, a couple weeks. So everything is it's great. Because last year we had nothing to talk about this time. So it was a dark time.
We have to be coming up on a year since we've been on this network, StreamYard. This platform. It's got to be.
When did we start off? Because we did take a break for a while between March. I didn't think we came back on the air until sometime in May or June.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I remember the one show we did when we had what's it called? The former Atlanta.
Leo Mazzoni.
Yeah, we had Mazzoni on, and that was in the summer when sports wasn't happening still.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of guests on at that time, obviously.
We do have wall-to-wall coverage of the Sports Box for draft week. That week we will have a lot going on this network, so we want you to tune in for that. And I'm assuming Paulie will be on there for a little some of that.
Yeah, haven't because Thursday is round 1, and obviously we're not going to do our baseball show on Thursday that week. So, I will probably make an appearance on the Thursday show. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to bring us home here?
Yeah, absolutely. That's it for the Unsportsmanlike Conduct this evening. Thanks for all that have chimed in, comments and questions this evening, as always. And we will be back next Monday night with another show. I'm sure a lot more to talk about. We'll see what the week, how it presents itself as far as the topics that will be for next week. But that is it for tonight. Once again, Paul Macrie alongside Big V, Mike Velardi. Have a great night, everybody, and have a great week. See you next week.
Thank you for watching the Unsportsmanlike Conduct Show on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at SportsBox Show, Twitter at SportsBox Show, Instagram at The SportsBox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.